For years, kids could go into Toys R Us without a fear of being scared to death. That was until 1998, when McFarlane Toys released their movie Maniacs line. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with a new video. Can you believe it? It's time for another video already. Yeah, most time we stay in the 80s, but this time we're going to take a trip back to the 90s, the late 90s, 1998. Now, before we get there, as always, like to support this channel, head over to patreon.com. There, become a Patreon supporter, get some exclusive content, and most of all, your support of this channel makes this channel better. Again, I don't think that's possible, but we'll find out if you become a Patreon supporter. Or go to thatjunkman.com and buy one of our cool t-shirts like this one right here, and you might even get this one right here. We got a lot of t-shirts, so check it out, thatjunkman.com. Now, let's talk about McFarlane's Movie Maniac action figure line. Todd McFarlane became a household name. That was if your household was full of comic book geeks in the early 90s with the Spawn comic book line. But he took his success in the comic book field and moved it over to the toy business with his company Todd Toys, which would later be renamed McFarlane Toys. There he released action figures based on his comic book Spawn series and other figures throughout the 90s. He was one of the first companies to target a more adult audience for action figures. These wasn't the toys that you played with as a kid. These were closer to models for people that didn't have the skills to put a model together. As kids that grew up in the 70s, 80s, got into the 90s, we started to mature on our toys. We didn't quit buying them, but we wanted something more realistic and to movies that wasn't always kid-friendly. And McFarlane Toys filled that gap perfectly. Now we're only going to look at Series 1 of the movie Maniac figures, but if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up so I know you like it, and we'll look at more throughout the series. With the movie Maniacs line, we all got toys we only kind of dreamed of as a kid that we never thought we'd see, like Snake Plissken's. But let's get back to Series 1. There were 3 different versions released. The one that went to the toy stores, like KB Toys or Toys R Us, was slightly different than the one released at retail shops like comic book stores. Although basically the molds were the same, the ones that you picked up at comic book shops were bloodier, more gruesome than what you saw at Toys R Us. The non-bloody ones are often referred to as the PG action figures, and the ones with blood are the R-rated. Not only could you get the R-rated figures with more blood on it, there was another series of figures released in Series 1 where the package itself had more blood on it. Now, let's dig into Series 1. Let's look at the PG version of Eve from the movie Species 2. Probably one of the most ugliest, coolest looking action figures you'll find. The detail is amazing and looks a lot like it does in the film. This was the only figure as part of Series 1 that was timed with the movie's release. She came with 2 different heads, as you can see here. Also, like all the other figures in the series, came with a plastic frame that looked like it was molded out of bones with a movie poster inside. What made these figures great for display. The R-rated version of Eve is slightly different, where it has nipples. Nipples! Unlike the other figures in the Series 1 line that would have a bloody or a bloody package, the difference between the Eve figure is the nipples. I don't know about you, but I love Species 1. Although I haven't seen it since the theaters, I'm not sure if I would still love it today. The sequel really didn't hold up. And I didn't even know they made a 3 and a 4 until I was working on this video. But they went straight to the Sci-Fi Channel. So that tells you all you need to know. Now, there was one more figure released in Series 1 from the Species 2, and that was an action figure of Patrick. No, not that Patrick, this Patrick. No, not that Patrick, this Patrick. Larry, I'm not playing with you, get it right. That's not the Patrick. Sorry, this Patrick. Larry! Okay, finally, this Patrick. I said the other figure of Eve was probably the most ugliest, disgusting looking figure ever. I take that back. Look at this thing. Why would anyone want to sit up in their room on display? Sure, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. It's very good details. Again, it comes with that movie base with a poster inside. This was only released in a PG version. There's no R-rated version, no bloody version, or one with nipples. Ooh, that thing was gross. But when people think of movie Maniacs action figure line, first thing they probably think of is the horror movie figures. And there were 3 released in Series 1. So let's start off with the man down the street, Freddy Krueger. Again, like all these McFarlane figures, very good detail. There may not be much to play with. They don't really have much play value, but that's not really why people are buying movie Maniacs for. Again, this line wasn't aimed at kids, it was aimed to the collector. The figure also came with a base with a movie poster inside and a little bitty tiny Freddy at his side. Although the release figure does seem to have a little bit of blood on his pants, the bloody figure was released at comic book stores and specialty shops. Not only did you have one with bloody clothes, you had one with extra bloody package. They had a little picture of the poster down in the corner. Probably the most iconic slasher villain is Jason. And you know it, they made a figure of Jason also. He comes with the hockey mask. To me, Jason was always scarier when he had that wheat bag on his head. To me, that's more terrifying than a guy that plays hockey. So let's take a look at Jason from Friday the 13th. I'm talking about Friday the 13th, not Saturday the 14th. Here's Jason. It's a battered and bruised Jason. Ripped up clothes, lots of cuts, and an ugly face. Even the PG one comes with a bloody machete. He also comes with his spear, and he comes with an axe. The bloody figure has just a little bit more red blood at the bottom of his pants and on his shirt. Not much of a change here. The figures also, like the others, come with a stand with a poster inside. This one has the poster to Jason Goes to Hell. I wish they had picked another movie poster to go with. And of course, it was released with a package with extra blood. Now, I saw Friday the 13th as a kid. Didn't really scare me. Didn't really care for it. I was never a big horror movie guy. I saw the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I liked it. Never really cared. But there's one movie that terrified me, and that was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just something about that movie, it looked so cheap and grainy. It looked real. It was hard to watch while this. I remember renting Texas Chainsaw Massacre at a local video store, watching it at home by myself. And I think I got about 40 minutes in before I had to turn it off. As soon as they made it to the house and showed Leatherface and his family, I said, that's it. But I always loved Leatherface. Him and Michael Myers were my 2 favorites. So to close out the Series 1 of Movie Maniacs, there was Leatherface. Let's take a closer look. I said Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Larry's been drinking tonight. The figure of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Leatherface as he's called, comes with a bucket and a chainsaw. And he might be the only figure in the Movie Maniacs line that comes wearing a tie. He also has an apron. He doesn't want to mess up that nice new shirt. And like the other ones, he comes with a base with the movie poster inside. Again, this is a nice little feature if you're going to display the figure. One thing different besides just adding blood, it comes with body parts that you can put inside the bucket. Most of the blood on the figure is covered in the apron. And as you know it, they release a figure with more blood on the package. I tell you, can you imagine what these 2 guys thought of the Movie Maniacs figures? I mean, they thought Transformer action figures was the work of the devil. Can you imagine what they thought of these? Especially the bloody ones, the ones that came with body parts. Anyway, that's a look at Series 1 of the Movie Maniac action figure line. This video goes out to my friend Russ, who's a big fan of this series. There you go, Russ! Now, tell me in the comments below what you think. Did you have these Movie Maniac line? I'll be honest, I only bought a few of them. I think I had Leatherface, and later in the series I know I had a Michael Myers. I think that was Series 2. And I think I had a Jason. Just cause they look so cool. Let me know in the comments below which ones you had. Or if you didn't, which one you wish you had. Or why you didn't want to get them at all. Or just tell me to f*** off in the comments. Whatever you want to say it in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching. As always, please thumb up my video so I know you like my content, so I'll do more Movie Maniac lines. And subscribe to the channel. And until the next video, I'll be back.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.